What's up, everybody? All right, calm down. So, when people talk about their place in sports, for some reason it always fits in these really narrow and, frankly, they're kind of cliche roles by now. Things like jocks, go-getters, team players, showboaters, pooch screwers, underdogs, and of course, the fat kid at dodgeball. This guy. So, popular culture seems to focus entirely on these archetypes. However, every so often you find certain aberrant people. The boxer who takes a dive for a joke. The polo player who shows up with one of those TJ donkeys painted like a zebra. The rhythm gymnast who trades in their ball and rhythm for a big foot-long big black dildo. But one magical summer in college, I had the fortune to be on a team of these unique creatures. A friend told my comrades and I of a kickball league forming. They said it was sponsored by a bar, you could drink during games, and we'd be given t-shirts that could be customized. Apparently, all our team heard was booze and customizable t-shirts. And thus, the Boozeuals were born. Let's take a look at the lineup, shall we? Our captains were Nick and Brandon. Picture, please. This is them being arrested for public indecency, drunk in public, and resisting arrest in Indiana. This is actually the only picture I have of the two of them together. Eric was our team's own little Speedy Gonzalez, who once got his dick caught in the dugout fence during a game. Bill is currently a respected hydrologist, but back then he was mostly known for dating a woman twice his age and the ability to grow the creepiest goddamn mustaches in human history. Rob and Chris were an inseparable duo who would have been gay for each other if they hadn't liked Starship Troopers so much. For my birthday that summer, they gave me a card with a googly-eyed bear on the front that said, "Hey, big boy, we got you a 4-pack of beer and a half a bottle of rum. Don't mix the rum and beer together. It tastes like shit." Rob plus Chris forever. The Boozeuals even had a mascot. His name was Tony. We'd tell him to bring his guitar to games so he could play kick-ass solos when we scored. All he managed to do was prove that math rock and organized sports will never, ever work, no matter how high he was. And then there was me, also known as Dr. Hugs. Chariots of fire, we were not. The majority of the other teams were older than us. They seemed to be co-workers trying to prove that they could be fun by having a couple beers and playing a silly game. But from the first match, when I barfed the moment I caught a pop fly in the outfield, as if seemingly sportsmanship I was completely allergic to, it became clear that we and the other teams were not on the same level. Other team shirts were plain and boring, only adorned with the league's logo and information. No cats in Victorian garb, dolphins in straw hats, or techno goggles and awkward nom de guerres. And as the Boozeuals quickly nosedived into last place, a gulf formed between us and those other teams. They clapped and cheered as their sober and clean teammates scored run after run. Bleary-eyed and stinking of cigarettes and on-sale beer, we would yell and screech as we gloriously and deftly wrecked every play. Our players were frequently criticized for smoking at bat and causing our dugout to permanently smell like a brewery and a urinal. Every ball we kicked looked like a drunk driver swerving into a tree, and our slides into base were more convulsive flops than graceful dives. Our achievements would never be the same as the other teams, but we took pride nonetheless. During one of the games, our captain Nick stumbled into the dugout with a face that looked like he had just won a gold medal. When we asked what happened, all he could say was, "Man, there was this ball coming out, and shit, I was just seeing 3 of them, and I went, whoop, and I caught it." We were terrible. And by some strange consensus, the whole team was strangely proud of our loserdom and made the decision to become aggressively, proactively bad. It all came down to our last game, which I remember quite vividly. We were playing a team that had one of the best records in the league, but due to some miscommunication on when to meet at the bar beforehand, our team was only playing slightly buzzed. Several innings in, it suddenly dawned on us. The Boozeuals were actually winning. Now, if this was the movies, or if we had had common sense at the time, at this point we would realize the true meaning of the game, and drunk or sober dig deep and win, thereby winning the grudging respect of our more established and proper opponents. The Boozeuals at this point stood on the razor's edge, our perfect zen of screaming shit and failure, perilously close to collapse, to success in the sport we were supposed to be playing. If action was not taken, we would have to admit that we were doing something right. Instead of a cavalry charge to save the day, salvation came in the form of two of our teammates, who we had forgotten had gone to the liquor store. And we booze-sweated our way to another loss. But the Boozeuals walked away from that game cheering and feeling on top of the world. But why? When we had managed to just degrade and ruin an entire season, not only for ourselves, but an entire league. Because in that last game, we drank 60 beers in 3 innings. A team record.
Sam Carr.